Hi guys, it's me again here in the Batcave with another movie review. And this week's movie is going to be Hardcore Henry. Now, if you've seen the trailer for this film, then you definitely know that this is a different type of movie. It's going to be combining two different genres in this film. You're going to get stuff like the found footage type horror movie aspect that with the shaky cam and the running all around, as well as get a first person point of view video game aspect as you've seen in movies such as like Gamer or Doom, where you're going to be fighting through people first person, but this movie kind of amps it up because it does it the entire length of this film, which was really interesting to me because it was something I had never seen in a film before. So it really got me anxious and kind of excited about wanting to see this film. Now, one crazy note, or I guess one interesting note about this film is that the director, who has a name that's super hard, so I'm not gonna butcher it in his review, but he started off a couple of years ago doing a video short, it's called Bad Motherfucker, and that thing took off on the internet. It had so much buzz, and he was able to transition this into a full-length feature film, which we got with this movie. Now, I guess the plot is what we'll get into next of this film, is that we have our character Henry, who actually finds himself waking up in a laboratory with this woman who presumably is his wife, and he's been undergoing some experiments to where he is now like part cyborg, and right as he's finding out who this woman is and what's going on with his body, basically all heck breaks loose, and he's has her taken away from him, and he's just kind of thrown out into the world with all these people kind of after him. So not only does he have to get her back, save her from the bad guys who's taken her, but he also has to kind of figure out what's going on with his memory and why all of this is happening out of nowhere. So like I always do in these and in these reviews, is that I always want to start off with the goods and the bad. So we're going to start with the goods. One of the great things about this film is that it's different. It's totally different. So if you like films that don't kind of follow the molds of other films where you feel like you've seen all this over and over again, this film is going to be totally different. You're going to walk out like, man, I've never seen anything like that before. So that's a great good about this film. Also, it's action packed, heavy all the way through this film. There is not going to be a part where you're going to feel like you're bored or it's dull or not enough is happening, because they keep you going. It's one of those things that almost kind of feels exhausting because so much he goes from one thing to another thing to another thing. It's almost kind of like if you watched the movie Crank. This is like Crank, but you got to be Jason Statham. You got to see his point of view. So as active as Crank was with him going through stunts and action scenes, this film basically gives you that same thing. If you're a person who's into movies where they're brutal and violent and gory, this is definitely the movie for you, because they don't pull punches on anything. It is a hard R movie. There's gonna be blood, guts, violence, everything in this film, and so no little kids go into this movie. But if you're into that, if you're I would say this film probably at one point may have bordered on the lines of NC-17, how brutal some of the things that went down in this film. Other great things about this film is, like I said, you didn't get too bogged down with a lot of dialogue, because the premise of this film is, it's kind of paper thin. So they didn't spend too much time trying to, build up the world and kind of, fill you in with too much backstory about what's going on. It just kind of threw you into it and you went running and you just accepted everything as it was. All right, so those are the goods that I actually liked about this film. Some of the bads I didn't like about this film is that there is no backstory, which can be a good thing. Like I mentioned before, is that there's no backstory. Sometimes we kind of want to just go and accept everything, and this movie makes you accept a lot of stuff. If you're thinking too hard at the beginning of this film, or if you're trying to figure out, well, why is this happening and why is that happening and why does it keep, jumping to this, jumping to that, you're going to get lost. You're not going to like the film. You just have to accept it the way it is and keep going. So that can be bad for some people who love a good story and plot. And like I said, this one, it gave you enough plot to get you into the story. Another bad with this film is that what do I want to say, is that if you're a person who's not really into the found footage type films, or who gets motion sickness really easy, this film is going to send you over the board quick, because of the first person point of view. It's going to have you doing so many different things and stunts and everything that you're going to feel like you're there. And even at a point for me, and I like these films, where I kind of felt a little queasy of some of the stuff that they had you do. So that's probably a bad. There's not a lot of dialogue. A lot of the dialogue come from the surrounding cast, which is really not a big cast. I'd say that most of the cast is a lot of stunt characters, but the small cast that it does have, the dialogue really comes from them, so you don't really get to know too much about the character Henry. All you know is that he's in a situation. You just kind of watch it unfold in front of him. The villain's a little weak because his motivations, which are revealed at the end of the film, you don't know what they are going into it, so this kind of tapers back to the plot, but they still could have gave us a little bit, so we kind of know why he's the villain. Why is he doing evil? Not just because evil. So those were probably the bads of this film. Should you go see this film? If you want to see a film that's completely different than what you've seen in action films, because action films can get really repetitive, this one is really, really different. If you like first person or the found footage, or if you're a fan of like Gamer or Doom, or if you're just if you're a Call of Duty fan, or if you're a big video game fan, you're gonna really, really love this film. I was actually even talking to some people at the theater who had seen it as well, and it seemed like this film was set for an age demographic. So like I said, if you're on the younger side, you're a kid, you're a teenager, something like this movie's probably really going to appeal to you. If you're in the older, more sophisticated crowd, this may not be the type of film that you want to go see. But like I said, if you want to see something different, this film definitely does. I bet you this is it doesn't seem like they spent a lot of money making this film, so I'm sure it doesn't need to make a lot at the box office, and it seemed like this can start a genre as far as the video game aspect type movies, or just giving you more action-packed found footage, because as of late, the found footage has really been limited to horror movies. We can do now with the shaky cam, first person point of view in action films, and make, like I said, give us more of a video game feel. So I guess that's all I really got to say on this movie. I liked the movie. I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie. I definitely didn't hate it. I liked the film because, like I said, I like interesting films and films that do stuff differently, because I appreciate that, and they didn't just carbon copy something else, especially in an action genre film. So yeah, I guess that's all I got, guys. Make sure you, if you do go out and see it, comment, let me know what you thought about it. If you're thinking about seeing it, or like I said, if you did see it, if you didn't like it, or if you did like it, comment down there below. I would love to discuss it with you, because I got some things that maybe I didn't quite catch the first time I saw it. Maybe you did, or maybe you have some questions about some things that you saw that maybe I got a little bit easier. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to this channel, or like and subscribe this video, like and comment this video, and subscribe to the channel, so that way you'll be able to be here next week when we do another movie review, but you'll also be kept in touch and up to date on any of the other videos that we have on the channel. So with that being said, I guess that's it for this week, and make sure you get to the movies, guys. Bye.